break next Friday. So it just feels like it is coming right up. And I'm really excited for it. Christmas is really fun with a little kid for sure. So today I want to talk about how magnesium is not usually enough by itself to help you sleep. And that's because it's about different minerals being in balance with each other, not just magnesium. And before I get into it, I just want to say that I know how not sleeping can really drive you crazy. So, when I had sleep issues years ago, I used to lie awake at night and think of everything I did that day to try to pinpoint what I was doing wrong that was keeping me awake. It was so frustrating. Like, was it the chocolate ate at 4 p.m.? I started eating chocolate earlier in the day because it could affect my sleep later in the day. Did I exercise too little or not enough? Is it because I watched 30 minutes of television 2 hours before bed? Like, what was I doing wrong? It was so maddening. But as I learned more and more how different imbalances in the body cause insomnia, I found out there was something deeper going on. And that's why all the habit changes, the sleep hygiene, even the supplements I tried didn't work because they weren't enough to deal with the imbalances in my body. So once I did the functional lab test for myself, I found out I had a parasite. I had liver detox issues. I also had heavy metals and mineral imbalances. And all of these things were contributing to my sleep issues. And so I finally was able to get back to sleeping great again by addressing everything that was causing me to be awake. And everything was actually really connected. So I'll explain more as I talk about these mineral imbalances. But all of my clients have mineral imbalance. And again, it's more than just magnesium deficiency. So that's why magnesium by itself isn't enough to help you sleep, because we need to look at the other minerals, and because that means that there are other things going on. Like if your gut isn't healthy, then you aren't digesting food, especially protein, well. So then you aren't getting the minerals you need from your foods. So, and we hear about vitamins all the time, but you rarely hear about the importance of minerals for health in general, and especially for sleep. Again, we hear about magnesium, and that is about it. But I will tell you, every single one of my clients I rarely see a test come back without mineral imbalance or just fully depleted minerals overall. And the most important thing to know about minerals is that they actually work synergistically together. So if you take too much magnesium, for example, it can affect your calcium, sodium, and potassium levels. And when I'm looking at mineral balance, that's where we start with what are called the primary minerals. So ideally, calcium, magnesium, sodium, and potassium would all be in balance with each other. But a lot of times I see calcium and sodium are really high, or sorry, calcium, magnesium are really high, sodium, potassium are really low, or the opposite. Or just depleted minerals overall, like I mentioned. So any of those different patterns can directly lead to sleep issues, also mood issues, also lots of other symptoms. So this is definitely something that I work on with all my clients. And it is something that is not looked at by most practitioners. And the test I use to look at minerals is called the hair tissue mineral analysis. And this is a very complicated test to interpret. So it's not like you can just read it off the bat. For example, like it might show high magnesium. That doesn't mean you have too much magnesium. It actually means your body isn't absorbing the magnesium. And probably because we need to work on the balance of all the minerals together. So it's very complicated. A lot of practitioners aren't doing this, or especially combining it with all the tests that I am running to look for everything that causes sleep and health issues. So this is very commonly overlooked. And I want to add too that your blood work tests for some minerals, right? Like you'll see calcium, sodium, potassium on some blood work panels. So the benefit of the hair test is that it's going to show what's out of balance before that even shows up on blood work. So your body is always trying to keep those minerals imbalance in your blood. So it's going to pull from the soft tissues to maintain that balance. But so we can see in the hair, that those minerals are getting out of balance before it ever shows up on blood work. So just because your blood work is normal doesn't mean that this is an issue for you. So I also want to point out that, when you talk about or take a magnesium supplement, it's important for it to be in balance with the other minerals, but you also need other nutrients to absorb magnesium. So you need enough boron, you need enough vitamin D, you need enough B vitamins. Ideally, you also need a healthy gut that can absorb any kind of supplements that you're taking. So a magnesium supplement isn't going to help if the other minerals are out of balance and if you don't have the cofactors or the necessary other nutrients to actually absorb that magnesium. So most of my clients do actually need magnesium, but that's not enough by itself. We need to balance minerals overall and look at the other imbalances in the body that are also affecting sleep. But it's really important to focus on minerals first, because to balance your hormones, to heal your gut, to support liver detox, your body needs those minerals. It needs those nutrients to be able to function that way. So that's why it can take a lot longer to get better, for your body to recover if you're deficient in certain minerals and vitamins as well. So part of what I'm looking at, in my programs with the testing is really building the body up first. So giving your body the nutrients that it's missing first. And then we can do things like get rid of pathogens in the gut, get rid of heavy metals, get rid of mold, like any toxins. But first, we need to give the body the nutrients it needs to be able to do those things. So then this also leads to heavy metals. So the hair tissue mineral analysis also looks for copper toxicity and different heavy metals. So copper technically isn't a heavy metal because we need copper, but in levels that are too high, it can become toxic. The body doesn't absorb it, and so it keeps circulating throughout the body. And this is especially common for women who have been on birth control. Any kind of birth control really can cause a buildup of copper. A vegan or vegetarian diet as well tend to see copper toxicity with this, because tend to be deficient in zinc, and zinc counterbalances copper. And so if you don't have enough zinc, then that copper builds up and can become toxic. And then it accumulates in your liver and a brain and can cause all sorts of symptoms, including sleep issues, including fatigue, including anxiety or irritability, a brain fog, a racing mind. So copper toxicity was a huge issue for me. Like, mine was super high. So it was definitely one of the reasons why I wasn't sleeping. And again, this can come from mineral imbalance in general. And then another thing I look at are heavy metals in this test. And, we're exposed to heavy metals in tap water, in foods, in personal care products, like all kinds of things. But, ideally, if your minerals are in balance, and your gut is healthy, then your body can easily get rid of those heavy metals. But when your minerals are out of balance and have become depleted, which actually happens often because of stress, I should add. So stress causes us to burn through magnesium 5 times faster than if you aren't stressed. Same with sodium and potassium. So that's how minerals become depleted over time, is from chronic stress. And that can be mental stress. It can also be stressors in your body that you don't even know are there, like a parasite or other pathogen. So anyway, what happens when minerals become depleted is that the body will hold on to heavy metals, because they can do part of the job of minerals, like 20% maybe. But the body's always going to try and do whatever it can to be able to function and, be able to detox and make hormones and neurotransmitters and all the things that we need minerals for. And so it's going to hold on to those heavy metals, but they're toxic at the same time. So that's why I always focus on balancing minerals first before getting rid of heavy metals. And I never do any kind of chelation therapy or force the body to get rid of heavy metals before it's ready. So what happens is when we start balancing minerals, the body will start being able to get rid of heavy metals as it's strong enough to, as it's able to deal with them. And then I also recommend a supplement like a binder that will bind to those heavy metals and get them out of the body so they aren't circulating around and causing an extra burden on the liver. So that, again, these are often overlooked pieces of the puzzle as to what can be causing insomnia. And sleep issues. So this is definitely something that I'm looking for, especially in the complete sleep solution program. We're looking at minerals, we're looking at heavy metals, we're looking at everything that is affecting sleep. So that is how we get to the bottom of what is causing your sleep issues. And then we give you a plan to get your minerals back in balance, to deal with heavy metals if those show up, while we're also working on hormone balance and gut health and everything else that is affecting your sleep and health as well. So if you are interested in the program, the first step is to sign up for a consultation with me. So we'll talk about what's going on with your health and sleep. We'll talk about what your goals are, and I'll tell you how the program works and how you can really restore your health so that you can sleep normally. Because I see not being able to sleep well, even if you're getting the hours you want, but if you are waking up feeling tired and don't have energy and brain fog and all that, that means that you aren't getting enough quality sleep as well. So I don't just help people with insomnia or sleep issues, although many of my clients are like that, and I had that as well. It's also if, say, you're getting 7 hours sleep, but you're waking up not feeling great. Like, we are meant to sleep well. We are meant to wake up rested and have energy for our day, have motivation, be in a good mood, and really be able to enjoy our lives. So if that is something that you're struggling with, then this is definitely something I can help with in the Complete Sleep Solution program. So sign up for a consultation today. You can get started with this before the end of this year. So you're not going to be able to get into any doctor's office or any other practitioner this year, but I have availability for consultations next week before I go on Christmas break. So you can already get started. We'll have your results in January, and then you'll really be able to hit the ground running once we get those back as well. All right, everyone. Thanks so much for listening, and I will see you soon.